Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mayor of the District of Columbia, Vincent C. Gray.
Good morning. Let me say how delighted I am that our fellow District of Columbia residents have joined us here today. It is my honor to welcome you to the inaugural One City Summit, especially as we adjust this. Technology is wonderful, isn't it? Again, I want to welcome you here this morning. This is a Saturday morning when lots of people don't necessarily get up and get out early, but look at the numbers of people who are here. It is absolutely fantastic. So again, as I indicated, this is our inaugural One City Summit, and we are absolutely delighted that so many people have come out. Again, we want to thank you for getting up on a Saturday morning and doing this. On Tuesday, during my State of the District address, I noted that the concept of One City is far more than a slogan. It's far more than just a logo. It really is the philosophy that undergirds our administration, and is also a practical guide to being able to make the concept of One City work for our residents here in the District of Columbia. Today, you will help us build a roadmap to get the District of Columbia to a place where it truly reflects the idea of one city. I am a huge believer in citizen engagement. I think our city is far better off when we give our residents genuine opportunities to shape and influence our city's direction at the citywide level, at the neighborhood level, and at the level of important policies and specific functions of the district's government. I'm also a huge believer in the District of Columbia. It is a wonderful place to live, work, visit, and to do business. As I will share a little later this morning, we are reaping the benefits of the district's greatness. We are reaping the benefits of the district's greatness right now in ways that we haven't seen in many years. We are experiencing the first net population growth in decades. And neighborhoods all over the city are buzzing with new life and new commerce, bringing to life the entire city from the West End to the East End. Our economy is growing and is in many ways one of the strongest of any city in the country. In the past year, we have witnessed a major turnaround in our city's fiscal outlook, meaning we are no longer depleting our critical reserve fund after years of spending it down. Instead, last year, we managed to boost it for the first time in 4 years by replenishing it to $1.1 billion, the envy of the entire nation. So, not only do we live in a great city, a lot of great things are happening to our city. but it is also a city in which a lot of progress still needs to occur, as there are many of our fellow Washingtonians who have not benefited from our turnaround. I believe that our great city can become even better because of our many cultures, races, and peoples, and that's our city's prosperity can be available to all, no matter what their ethnic background is, their national origin, their faith, their gender, their sexual orientation, or their neighborhood. Don't we agree that everybody deserves the opportunity to be able to make progress and to be able to live effectively in our city? I also believe that we are at a unique moment in our city's history, and that we must seize the opportunity to manage the massive changes our city is experiencing in ways that benefit the maximum number of residents, whether they're old or whether they're new. So again, I want to welcome you to the first of what we believe will be many One City Summits, where citizens of our great city can come together, roll up your sleeves, set priorities, and forge ahead together toward creating one city. Now, I'm going to turn you over to two dear friends, two people who have proven their ability to get things done here in the District of Columbia, Carolyn Lukensmeyer and Don Edwards. Carolyn is the founder and president of America Speaks, a national nonprofit based here in the District of Columbia that does large-scale citizen engagement throughout the country and actually around the world. You may remember her as one of the lead facilitators when Mayor Williams did his citizen summits a number of years ago. Don is a senior associate at America Speaks and is also a well-known facilitator and, too, is a good friend. He has led many public forums in the District of Columbia through his own company, Justice and Sustainability Associates. So please join me in welcoming two people who I can't think of are better to be able to lead this effort today, Carolyn Lukensmeyer and Don Edwards. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor Gray. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for America Speaks to be part of this historic first One City Summit. And it couldn't be on a more important set of topics than the ones that we'll take on today. I want to ask a quick question. I actually want you to raise your hands for a minute. How many of you have some real concerns about the health of democracy in the United States of America? Okay, this is serious stuff. Today we're going to be dealing with two of the challenges that face our country and face our city. First and foremost, of the people, by the people, really needs some oomph put back in it. We're living in a time when the question is real of whether citizens' voices can outweigh, can keep an even influence with too much money and too many special interests. You're here today. Your voices are going to be heard. The second major challenge, which has grown bigger in the last decade in this country, no democracy can survive when the gap between income and wealth gets too large. All of the issues that the mayor has put on the table for you to come together and talk about get right at the heart of that issue in our city. We have a chance to really strengthen democracy in the District of Columbia in the coming months, years, but we'll start it today. Let's get started on some democracy in action.
Thank you, Carolyn, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a real pleasure to be here today to talk about making the One City Summit a success. I am really moved by the fact that I see so many people who have worked on development in the city over the last decade or more, and it's really remarkable that we can be here to talk about something as bold as creating one city in the District of Columbia. Let's think about that for a minute. And then let's remember that this month, February, and this day is the day that we celebrate the birthday of one of our district's most distinguished residents, Frederick Douglass. We want to take a minute, yes, let's acknowledge him. I don't think it would be robbery to consider his life and his experience and how he created himself. He was a self-made man, and the way that he contributed so much to this city. I think if he were here today, and he is probably here in spirit, he would be really amazed, but more importantly, pleased by this extraordinary vista that we see and are a part of here today. So I think that also deserves some acknowledgement. We have come a long way in this city, and we're here now to talk about going to the next level. And so we don't want to pause. We want to talk to you and begin to explain what we're going to do today and how we're going to do it.
Don and I are very excited about the chance to do this together. And what we want to do is just quickly talk with you about, we just have two main objectives. There are two things we're trying to accomplish here today. The mayor in a few minutes will be back up on the stage to share his vision with you about how he sees what one city can be in the district. As soon as he's completed that, all of you are going to have a chance to respond to that and to add your beliefs and ideas about what will it take for us to truly become one city. The second objective that we'll look at today, we're going to explore 4 key policy issues. How do we diversify and grow our economy? How do we create early success for all infants and toddlers? How do we really educate our youth, starting in pre-kindergarten all the way through the 12th grade, so that they can actually be ready for jobs or entering college, whichever they choose? And last, and maybe the toughest issue of all, this country for decades has had structural unemployment across the nation, particularly in its urban centers in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. D.C. is no different than the rest of those urban centers. This administration wants to collaborate with you, the business community, and nonprofits to take a larger step forward about helping people who've been out of work for a long time get back into the workforce. That's what we're about today. So let me just quickly, this is very quick, and one of the wonderful things that you'll see is the way the table facilitators will help. The day will move by faster than you can imagine. On the screens you see, we'll start out in a minute with you doing some substantive introductions of each other at the table. We'll then take a look using the keypads about who's here from the whole city. The mayor will be back up for one city, and then we'll just start through each one of those policy topics. You see down at the next to the last bullet, as far as we know, this has never been done by a city before. How are we going to know whether or not we're making progress on these issues? Now, many cities have begun to develop and do real results measurement and key indicators. But what's first today, we're going to ask you, the citizens of D.C., to help identify the indicators you want to watch to see if we're making progress toward becoming one city. And we'll end the day with Mayor Gray. We'll be back up here on the stage, sharing with you some of the ways he's been influenced by today, but most important, sharing with you what the next steps will be to keep the progress on one city moving forward.
So, some of you have attended summits like this before, but many of you are hopefully here for the first time, and we are welcoming you. But I want to explain to you what's going to make this maybe an interesting first-time experience or a repeat experience for those of you who've done it before. First of all, you're all seated in small groups at these tables. You're going to have a table discussion throughout the day, and we're going to guide you through that, but you have a table facilitator who's going to help you have those discussions in an orderly way so that we can capture your input. You've also got a packet of materials that we are going to use as discussion materials so that you can understand and follow presentations that you're going to be given from the podium and slides. And that will help you stay focused on the content. We've also got a lot of technology that we're going to use to help us all stay connected from these various tables. So you already see that you have a laptop computer, and by now someone at your table has been designated to enter and be a laptop operator. Your task today is going to make sure that we get information from your table and send it out to a number of people who are working at a theme team. So I want to do a couple of things. First, let's have all the table facilitators stand. They're volunteers. They've given a day to make sure that your discussions work well. All right, thank you. They have come from literally all over the country as volunteers to be here to help us today. And now let's look at the theme team. If we could have the theme team members stand so that you can be acknowledged. They're right over here in the back of the room. Okay. So through your laptop computer and with the guidance of your table facilitators, you're going to be connected to the theme team. And then there's one last piece of technology. All of you should have a keypad. Let's see you hold up your keypads. Okay. That's how we're going to poll and get your feedback on specific questions around prioritization and preferences throughout the day. So this is what's going to keep us operating as a big room with many, many small pieces. So now what we want to do is remember that at the end of the day, before you leave, we will ask you to evaluate, but you're also going to get a preliminary report that allows you to walk out knowing exactly what you agreed to and what some of the next steps are that you can hold us and the government and the mayor accountable for. So these are the key components of how we're going to make the summit work today. Carol.
Okay, one last thing before Don actually invites you to really go to work. Ground rules. You already met your facilitators. You all know in your own families or at work or wherever that if there's not somebody helping to guide the discussion, the sort of extroverts take over, and those of us that are more introverted may not get our voices in. But it's not only the facilitator that should pay attention to that. You'll see in the middle of your table is a little stack of these options, but I want to run through them quickly. First, we hope that you will speak openly and honestly from your heart about what you really believe about these issues and how they impact all of us in the district. Second, equally important, if I had to pick the one skill that is most essential in a democracy, I'd pick listening. We all spend too much time broadcasting and not quite as much time with really open minds and hearts listening. The third rule, again, keep the comments brief and stay on the task. You know, the things I care most about, sometimes I think if I say them 5 times, I'll influence you. The truth is, it doesn't really. So, bottom line, make your point and keep moving. We really want the differences that exist in this city to be talked about at these tables. So explore them, be respectful, but then look for where can we come to common ground to really help the city understand how to use its too scarce resources. All right. Now, you know, there's one O. In the world we live in, this shouldn't even just say cell phones, I suppose. This is a turn off all your devices time. We need people to be fully present at the table, really engaging with each other. Those of you who are accustomed to tweeting, you can do that after the day is over. Okay. The last thing I want to talk to you about is a little bit different in this particular time in the calendar. As you know, it's primary season in the district, and it means candidates are out there trying to be sure they're the next people to govern, and they want to get their materials out to you, etc. We have made it possible for anyone with materials of any kind to share those outside the hall. But for while we're here together, really looking at these issues, it's inappropriate to advocate either your candidacy or any other issue that you care about. Willing to go along with that? All right. Let's go to work. I'm gonna it's too far away. Something about your ear. Sorry about that, but we're trying to get Don's microphone closer to his Words.
Okay, they can't hear me.
Give us a minute here. As the mayor said, when technology works, it's great. There you go.
How's this? Is this better?
Yes.
All right, thank you for your patience on that. All right, so now we're ready to get to work. You've got your keypads, you've got your worksheets, you've got your table facilitator, your laptop operator has been identified. Let's go ahead and do the first thing, which is to make sure that everybody is introduced. We want you to give your name, the ward you live in, your neighborhood. We want you to go around and make sure that all of that's done. We especially want, however, for the laptop operators to capture why did you decide to come to the summit today. Laptop operators, please make sure that you enter each person's information or answer and send it to the theme team often and regularly. We're going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then we're going to poll you and share back to the room some of that information. So you'll have about 10 minutes to do that. Get to work.